Hi, this is Ingrid here with the Week 12 recap of Ethan and Ingrid's 2024 Big Year. If you are one of the sad, tormented individuals who wake up early on Saturday morning to watch our weekly recap, you may have noticed this update is 3 days late. On behalf of Ethan and myself, we'd like to apologize for any inconvenience this has caused you and suggest you seek therapy immediately. After 19 days in Maine, we are back on the road after picking up our car outside of San Antonio, Texas, and beginning the 2-day drive to Albuquerque, New Mexico, with a few stops to pick up a bird or two on the way, of course. Our first stop was Texas Hill Country, north of San Antonio, for an elusive bird called the Golden-cheeked Warbler. This bird is very picky. It winters in a tiny area of Central America before migrating to an equally small area of Texas in the early spring. When we left Texas on March 4th, there were no golden-cheeked warblers in the state. When we returned on the 23rd, they were all back singing from the top of oak and juniper trees. We were delighted to come upon 5 golden-cheekeds in our initial 1-hour stop. To be more accurate, we heard 5 birds and got fleeting glances of 3. Its reputation of being easily heard but a challenge to see proved true. The golden-cheeked is a new life bird for us. As we progressed toward New Mexico, we saw several stunning flycatchers. And I saw my first prairie dogs, not a bird, but a new mammal species for me. While I expect farmers despise them and their miles of holes and tunnels, I found them to be enchanting. Cuteness overload. We spent the night in Lubbock, Texas, birthplace of Buddy Holly, your pop trivia for the day. And Ethan took me to Chili's, which fortunately did not have any pie on the menu. Our waistlines cannot accommodate any more lifer pie. The next morning, we continued west and hit snow. Frankly, we were a little surprised to hit snow at the end of March on the Texas Panhandle. But it was nothing that could stop a pair of Mainers driving an all-wheel drive Subaru, so we continued on. The landscape was fascinating as we moved across the prairie, passing mile-long trains, cattle ranches, and small towns. Our birding goal for the day was Sandia Crest, or Sandia Peak, the highest point in the Sandia-Manzano Mountains. There, we made the 13-mile drive up to 10,679 feet on snow-covered switchback roads to reach a single bird feeder kept filled, weather permitting, by a local Audubon group. Why go through all this effort to reach a single bird feeder? Because it's the best place in the United States to see Rosy-Finches. Rosy-Finches live in the mountains, above the tree line, feeding on seeds exposed by wind-driven snow. Not exactly the easiest birds to find. Ethan does most of the driving on our expeditions, and while he is confident and relaxed in his driving, all of that goes out the window when navigating up or down mountains. Years ago, we drove the narrow switchback road into Yosemite. When we finally arrived, he was covered with sweat. Heights in a car terrify him. But we made it, found the bird feeder, and saw dozens of black Rosy-Finches and brown-capped Rosy-Finches and a couple of gray-crowned Rosy-Finches, as well as a few mountain chickadees. All lifers and a real thrill. This week, we'll spend a few more days in New Mexico birding and taking in some of the local sights in the Albuquerque and Santa Fe areas before heading to Arizona. We invite you to follow our birding adventures at bigyearbirding.com. Happy birding!